Hey everyone, can't overdo it with a new video, and in this one I'm doing a Q&A because I want to put off that top 100 characters video, to be honest. The script on that is taking me so long. I have 8 pages currently, and so far it's only the introduction and the first couple of entries. So I'm going to make this video instead where I don't need to script anything because my script is going to be the questions that you guys asked. And this is all going to be off of the dome, so expect a lot of ums and ahs. But I'm just going to go in the order that these questions are in here, the way that YouTube presents them to me. I just think that makes the most sense. Alright. What are you majoring in? I'm actually not in school right now. I graduated high school actually a bit early. I graduated my sophomore year of high school, and then I moved into college where I started going for my associate's degree. But towards the end of my time there, I ended up dropping out around 6 classes worth of credits before I got my associate's. I was majoring in psychology originally, and then I moved over to computer science, but I just realized that school wasn't for me, and quite frankly, I didn't want to pay for it, so I ended up dropping out, and now I'm working in a warehouse where I can make pretty decent money whilst not needing school experience. How and why did you fall in love with visual novels? What was your first visual novel? My first visual novel was Doki Doki Literature Club, which I found out about through, I want to say his name was Bijou Mike. I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm pretty sure that was him, though. And I know that he had made a video on it, and it popped up in my feed one day. I was like, oh, what's this? So I clicked on it, and I watched a little bit of it, and I kind of, at that point, came to the realization that that the visual novel medium wasn't something that I had ever personally experienced. It wasn't even something that I knew existed. So I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm not even going to watch the rest of this. I'm just going to play it for myself and, experience it. And that's what I ended up doing. Right after Doki Doki, I played through the Danganronpa trilogy and Your Turn to Die, and it's been all over since then, really. Have you ever played Ace Attorney Phoenix? I've never touched Ace Attorney. Will I? I don't know, man. Maybe one day. Have you played Sekiro, Neo, or Zelda? I have never even heard of Neo, to be honest with you. For Sekiro, I've played up through Gyobu Masataka Oniwa, but I've not played past him yet. I did just invest in a PS5, though, so hopefully I'll get that done at some point, and I'll, give it the proper time of day. And as for Zelda, I might be showing my age here a little bit. The only Zelda game I've played to completion was Twilight Princess on the Wii. What series have you invested in the most emotions-wise? I mean, probably either Konosuba or Doki Doki Literature Club. I think it's probably one of those two. If you could create your own series, what would you want it to be about? Something about any really sort of organization that gets fully explored and gets kind of taken down from the inside out. I feel like that'd just be interesting. And what tropes are your favorite, least favorite, or hated, and then guilty pleasure? Guilty pleasure is 100% terrible romances. I gobble that shit up, dude. Anything that has to do with, like, really dumb drama within a romance, I think that's hilarious. I love it. As for least favorite, probably like the 1,000-year-old lolly. I think that's stupid. um, like if you like the character, that's cool and all, but like, come on, man. And far as what tropes are my favorite, I don't know if I have one, so instead I'm just gonna say heterochromia because it's cool. And then what do you believe makes or breaks a series that has a large cast or high stakes? I don't know if I followed the question. I don't know if you're asking, like, what is more likely to make or break a series between a large cast or high stakes, in which case I'd probably say high stakes. But I don't really follow the question. I'm sorry, man. Chicken or fish? Chicken. 1000% chicken. I absolutely abhor seafood. I don't like it. I've tried shrimp, crab, fish, anything that you can name. I've probably at least tried it, but it's not for me. Did you ever watch Korean, Chinese, or Japanese dramas? I have not. Favorite animal? Dogs. Very easily dogs. I've got a dog actually behind me who I'm really hoping doesn't get out of bed because he's going to be click clacking all over the floor. But he's been my dog for like 12 years now. So, I mean, definitely my dog specifically, but generally, just dogs in general. I'm a dog person. Zodiac sign Virgo. Where do you live? I do live. Yes, I do. Are you a tryhard or a nonchalant? Very nonchalant. I am a very casual. I mean, I'm assuming you're talking about in the context of video games, in which case I'm a very casual player. I like to hop on a game and just play for fun. I know that there are people who take it a lot more seriously than I do, and I think that's totally their own prerogative. If that's how they enjoy the game, cool. But it's not how I personally enjoy the game. Do you prefer men or women, both in fiction and not fiction? Note, does not have to be romantic, just to people who you mostly get along with. For getting along with people, it does not matter at all to me. I get along fine with guys, I get along fine with girls. It really does not matter to me. As far as within fiction, I would have given you the same answer, but then when I look at my top 100 characters, like the ratio of female characters to male characters is, I think, like pretty much 2 to 1. So I guess I prefer female characters over male characters, but like that's only, push the glasses up statistically speaking. But no, really, it doesn't matter to me. Favorite show you used to watch when you were a kid? I really liked Pokemon. I really liked The Amazing World of Gumball, but my favorite show was pretty easily Lego Ninjago. Like Legends of Spinjitzu or Masters of Spinjitzu, something like that. I don't know. Lego Ninjago. Seasons 1 and 2 were absolutely amazing. I think it was season 4 or 5 that I really liked as well. And then I really liked the one season where they had like the big tournament. I thought that was cool. The rest of it, I mean, I don't remember to be honest. But seasons 1 and 2 were really good. Favorite YouTuber? So if you're talking about like within the editing sphere, it's obviously me. No, I'm kidding. If you're talking about the editing sphere, I mean, there's guys like Horizen, the Hot Take Guy, Anime Experience, VengeXCD, all of which are really great. Go watch their stuff. But if you're talking about like YouTube as a whole, I really don't watch all that much YouTube, to be honest with you. Um, but probably some of my most like frequented channels are Zach Star himself. He does a bunch of like comedy skits. I find them hilarious. And probably just Moist Critical, I guess, because I just put him on in the background a lot while I'm doing other stuff. But I mean, obviously, if you've been around the channel for any amount of time, the answer is Unisauce. Unisauce is like the first genuine friend I feel like I really made, like directly through his and my own edits. Like it's 100% Unisauce. Will you read Lord of the Mysteries? If yes, around when? Will you read Reverend Insanity? If yes, around when? Same for Shadow Slave. So I'm just going to talk about these in order of least likely to most likely. I pretty much have zero interest in Reverend Insanity, to be honest. I read chapter 1 a while ago, didn't really like it. Everybody was hyping it up, telling me, oh, dude, it's so good right off the bat. And to me, it just wasn't, so I didn't want to continue it. Shadow Slave, I have a bit more interest in, but, I mean, to be completely honest, like I was just, talking about Unisauce, I know Unisauce is reading it, and if somehow he manages to convince me to read it, I'll read it. And then for Lord of the Mysteries, I've read the first 20 chapters like a year ago or so, I think. But I didn't really give it too much of a chance. I will eventually go back to it. I just don't have any idea when. The problem with any of the series that you mentioned for me personally is that they are so long to the point where I almost feel like I'm not making progress when I'm reading them. and it makes it very difficult for me to have the desire to continue to read them, if that makes sense. How did you come to know about Doki Doki Literature Club first? I already answered this. Beat You Mike YouTuber. Favorite eroge visual novel? How did I know this shit would come up? So if you're talking about the just technically that it has the term eroge attached to it, probably Fate Hollow Ataraxia. But if you're asking about like series that are specifically catered towards eroge content, probably Sakura Succubus 8, and yes, I've read all 9 of those. Favorite food? Mac and cheese. Favorite fantasy novel, Western books only. So I really haven't read too many Western media, to be honest with you. But I did read the first couple of books of Percy Jackson. Those were pretty good. I read the first 3, maybe 4 books of the Hunger Games growing up. But my favorite series was 100% The Maze Runner. I absolutely loved it. And the movies, while not, perfect from an adaptation standpoint, especially the second one, I did really enjoy pretty much all of the books. I don't think there was any of them that I didn't really like. When will you read Kubera? Could not tell you. Zero idea. My best hot take? Um, you know what? Just because I know I've had some discussions with somebody about this, I'm gonna say my take on Suzune Horikita versus Angie Ushiromiya from Umineko. And I'm still not gonna tell you what my take is on that. But that's probably my most hot take, yeah. My worst cold take, though, Beatrice is the best character written, period, for me. I think that that's something that a lot of people could agree with. And then my to be read list. I'm not gonna answer that one. Because quite frankly, this video is already longer than I thought it would be, and I'm not done answering questions yet. And to answer this question would probably double this video's runtime. So instead, I'll just raffle off a few of them. For visual novels, I really want to read both Higurashi and Clannad. For light novels, once I finish up Torture Princess, I'm probably going to read Spy Classroom. And then I might jump back into the Kirigiri novels. And then obviously, like, the stuff I'm already caught up with, like when Roshi Dire, Clashing with the Elite, playing death games to put food on the table. When any of those get a new volume, that'll be pretty high priority. For manga, it's going to be Kono Oto Tomare, I think it's called. It's definitely Kono Oto something, but that's the manga that I'm currently quote-unquote reading, but I'm only a couple chapters into it. And then manhwa, I currently have Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint as my like highest level of priority for manhwa, but I haven't really been reading much manhwa at all, so I still haven't really gotten back to that, but I will be getting back to that hopefully after I'm done with Torture Princess, I think. Why are you so goated? Aw, you shouldn't have. What's your favorite monologue of all time? Oh man, there's so many good ones. I really like Psyche Callista's breakdown in chapter 220 of Your Throne. I really like Kuze Masachika's breakdown at the end of volume 8 in Roshi Dire. Beatrice's talking, I think it was episode 3 about real magic. I think that one's really good. But at the end of the day, oh, and Ayana Koji's, pretty much any of his monologues from volume 0, I find them all incredibly fascinating. But the number one monologue for me, I mean, it kind of has to be the I Hate Myself speech from Natsuki Subaru. Like, that scene has just resonated with me so much. And it's a scene that I can continuously rewatch and still, like, feel the emotions of. So, yeah, probably that one. Will you be reading the Death is the Only... Wait, Death is the Only Villain... Oh, Death is the Only Ending for a Villainess. I will be reading the novel soon. I think the plan, and don't quote me on this because this could very much so be wrong. I think once I catch up to the Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint manhwa, I'm gonna take a break from that and then read the villainess novel. And then when I finish the villainess novel, I'll go back and I'll read the Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint novel. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's the current plan. Favorite food, like I said, mac and cheese. I mean, or pizza. Either one of the two. I like I guess you could say like stadium food. I don't know. Like burgers, fries, anything that you would think of when you think of like how unhealthy America is. Any of those. Top five manga, manhwa, and webtoons that you would recommend. Your Throne, I think, is one of the most, if not the single most consistent story ever. So, highly recommend that. Karuhana, The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity, amazing manga. Um, Triple S Class Suicide Hunter is a really good manhwa. I've really enjoyed that so far, and actually just got some new chapters recently. Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible is personally my favorite manga ever. It's just a very, very chill read. If you're in the mood for something that's very light and easy to read, I would go with that. And then, screw it. Like, even though the ending was super controversial, I think that Oshinoko is still a great read throughout. And then, how long does it take you to make edits? There's two answers to this question. Once I have everything prepared, like maybe 40 minutes to an hour, give or take. But the preparation that goes into my edits is much longer. So I guess I'll go through like kind of the way that I do it briefly. So, very first thing I do obviously is have an idea of what I want to do for the edit, and then I'll go through before I even start putting it together, actually like going through category by category and just like who takes what, just so I have a general idea of what I'm going to be doing. Then I get the audio. The audio I usually try to make like match the characters. Obviously, like when I do the themed edits, I mean, duh. But even when I'm not, I try to have the song go somewhat with at least one of the characters in the edit. Once I have that, then it's time to do the photo matching. And I'll be completely honest, the photo matching is the part that takes the longest. When I was doing that Psyche Callista versus Medea Salon video, I actually got to talk to Horizen during the process of me finding the images for it, so he got a little bit of a taste for what I do, where I sent him the images I was going to use, and then he replied to me, he was like, oh, I mean, that's all good and stuff, but like, what if you used this image instead? And then I looked at it, I was like, nah, dude, I'm still not feeling it. So I looked again, and then I found another image, and he was like, oh my god, dude, that's perfect. Like, I genuinely go through this process of taking so long to get the photos to match. That's genuinely the part of the edits that takes me the longest. Once I have all my photos, I can just run them all through CapCut, get the 3D zoom effect, and then put them all into my editing software. But then it's also time for like the color corrections, which I do a lot, figuring out what text I want to use, what effects I want to use, if any at all. Like there's a lot that goes into it, but oh, and then beat syncing. I didn't even mention that. Beat syncing is horrible. I do that manually. I don't know if there's a way to automate it. I'm pretty sure there is on CapCut, but I don't personally do that. I go through and painstakingly figure out the exact like parts of the song that I need to put transitions on. So that's kind of miserable, but once all of that is done, then the editing process really isn't that bad. It's just a bunch of copy and paste, to be honest with you. Your favorite antagonist in anime and manga? Why would you do this to me, man? Because if this was not just anime and manga, I could tell you Monica, Beatrice, Kokichi, even like Sohiyori from Your Turn to Die. But like with this anime and manga only, I don't know, man. I really don't know. I guess this is kind of a cop out answer, but I am still gonna just say Beatrice because Umineko has a manga, even though I haven't really gotten that far in it. I'm still gonna say Beatrice because she's a manga character, so bite me. Is there any character that you absolutely hate? Oh, I was hoping somebody would ask this. Yes. Hold on, let me. So I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's ReZero185. You 100% got it right. I absolutely despise Amy from the House and Fata Morgana. I think that Amy is pretty far and away my least favorite character. It's not even remotely close. The problem with trying to defend why I have such a deep seated hatred for Amy is that it's from the House and Fata Morgana, which I would need to spoil multiple major plot points in order for you to even understand where I'm coming from when I say that I hate Amy. However, what I will say is that if anybody listening to this right now has read the House and Fata Morgana and wants to debate this and give me a justification for why Amy does not suck, I'm not talking about her writing, by the way. I'm just talking about her as a person. If you try to justify that to me, that is your own prerogative, but I promise you it will be in one ear out the other. I do not like Amy at all. What she did was absolutely horrific, terrible. Nobody should do it. I think that Nemu Monica from Euphoria was more justified in her actions than Amy. And then favorite eroge, I already answered this. Fate Hollow Ataraxia or Sakura Succubus 8, one of the two. It depends on what you're really looking for. But, for shits and giggles, I'll just say Euphoria this time, because why not? When you used to... Wait, what? When you used to take more anime manga and edit, I used to watch your videos more, so when you'll do it again? I wasn't really under the impression that I strayed away from anime manga much. I mean, I guess kind of if you're being, like, very strict with anime manga, only including, anime and manga, because like a lot of what I'm currently reading is light novels, visual novels, and manhwa, and web novels. So if you take all that out of account, then I mean, I guess that's straight away. But to answer your question, I don't know, man. A lot of the edits that I make either come from a flash of inspiration randomly one day, or just it's what I'm currently into. I think Chong Li is a great example from Wuthering Waves, where Chong Li is one of my favorite characters ever, and despite that, I've made I think two edits, maybe three edits for her, because I really liked Chong Li at the time, and I could very easily articulate my reasons why I liked Chong Li at the time. But like as time passes, I read more stuff, and now I want to make Yuki Soramachi content, which expect more edits of her in the future. But I really I could not answer your question, man. Sorry. Your favorite Disney character writing wise? Random question. For me, it'd be Megira, purely because she carried the heck YouTube out of Hercules in terms of writing. So this might be a bit of a cop-out answer, but Disney is such a large company that it really encompasses a lot of big names. So I'm assuming you're talking more about like animated characters, but I'm gonna pick probably Iron Man from the MCU. Especially like in the original Iron Man movies, I think that he was actually really well done. Why are you Monica in real life? Just Monica. When are you making those more lacy edits? You said you would. Ignore that you said probably. What's crazy is I would have told you that I said probably. Now, I mean, I kind of answered this in the previous question where if I suddenly get inspiration to make a lacy edit, I will. I think that once Project Lily, I know sounds unrelated, but I promise it's related. Project Lily has a main character in it, obviously, like any other series would, and the main character's name is also Lacey. So maybe once that gets more content, I'll make like a Lacey versus Lacey edit, or I'll make like the Laceys versus other characters that might have the same name. I don't know. It might be something like that. But currently, I don't plan to make any more Lacey edits. But I mean, obviously, like that could change. I decided to make a Lady Maria edit one day just because I felt like making a Lady Maria edit. So it happens. Alligator versus hippo. I do not live there anymore. I mean, as most of you guys, I feel like who are give a shit enough to watch this video would know, I moved recently, quite far away. But I was born and raised in Florida, so alligator, obviously. Come on. Do you play any JRPG games? To be completely honest with you, I barely play any games at all. But if Final Fantasy is JRPG, I have played I've played a bit of 9, a bit of 8. I played the original 7, and I played part 1 of the remaster for that. But my favorite Final Fantasy game was easily 10. Not 10-2, but I genuinely really enjoyed Final Fantasy 10. So if you count that as JRPG, or if it's counted as JRPG, I guess, then yes, I have played them before, but no, I don't currently play them. Did you change your profile picture? Where did you draw your inspiration to begin making edits? Good question. I would say that my biggest inspiration was the Silver Life. I just really enjoyed his content with the original like Kakegurui versus Tomodachi game tournament, Kakegurui versus Clash of the Elite, Clash of the Elite versus Tomodachi. That's why I started as an SCD creator, and that's why I also really like doing the tournaments at the start. But I would say that was definitely my biggest inspiration. I mean, there was other people too. I really liked Actress's Geniuses versus Manipulators tournament. I thought that was really good. Kyokoji's another one to mention. There's definitely more that I'm just blanking on right now. But those were probably the biggest ones, with specifically the Silver Life being probably my number one inspiration. I will say that the only thing that I very vividly remember about like doing on my first edit is I wanted to make edits beforehand, but I could not for the life of me figure out how he got the pictures to move. So one day I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm just gonna Google it. So I Googled how to make image move, and then it took me to CapCut, and I mean, I've been using the 3D zoom effect ever since. Just casual questions, but did you get to do Honkai Star Rail's new quest, and if so, how do you feel about it? I've not gotten very far in it. I have started it at least, but I have not yet finished it, so I'm going to save my thoughts on it. However, what I will say completely, I mean truly unrelated, there's a new character coming out in the second half of this patch. And it's so weird. I have 57 polls saved up. And, even weirder, I actually already have all of their trace and ascension materials. And if any of you are wondering, but why would you do that? Can't overdo it. I get that you're so awesome and cool and stuff, but I mean, that sounds like a waste, doesn't it? And to that, I say, have you seen her? I rest my case. Very not serious question. Have you ever heard of our Lord and Savior, the Fool? I have indeed heard of the Fool. I will potentially maybe experience the Fool one day, but that day is certainly not today. Name some well-written or enjoyable visual novels for me. By well-written, I mean the characters. I mean Umineko and Fata Morgana. I mean, those are the easiest answers. But a couple other really good ones for character writing, I would say Fate Stay Night is really good. Steins Gate is really good. For like exceptional writing, those are the big ones. If you're looking more so specifically for enjoyability, I mean, 9-9 and Danganronpa, and then Your Turn to Die, those are probably the three most enjoyable visual novels for me. But if you want a mix of both, Umineko is probably like the best one for you. I think it does a very good job of balancing being incredibly well written while also being very enjoyable throughout. How do you scale writing? Oh no. I plan to make this its own video, so unfortunately, I'm not really going to answer the question here. What I will say is that, in my opinion, writing is pretty much entirely subjective. With things like SCD or WIS, it's really easy to point to feats and debate which feat is better. But with writing, you really can't do that. You can definitely still make arguments for it, but it's a lot less set in stone. So the very first thing that I do when I'm analyzing any given character is determine my bias, my level of bias, and whether that bias is for or against a given character, because obviously that is going to play a part in like my scaling of their character. So I think that it's really important to acknowledge that before I even do anything about it. How did you know about Doki Doki Literature Club? Biju Mike. Moving on. Why do you love Monica so much? Ignore the bookmarks. But anyways, why do I love Monica so much is a question that, I mean, similar to the last one, I plan to make an entire video around Monica herself. Obviously, more so talking about her writing and my defense for having her in such high regard for her writing in particular. But I can't really answer this too much besides the fact that I think that Monica has had a very profound impact on me personally. And I think that anytime a fictional character is able to impact a person in the real world, I think that's something that should be acknowledged. And Monica is basically that for me. A bunch of matchups you did not put, whether it's just writing or my own opinion. So I'm just going to do both. Sunday or Adventuring. I prefer Adventuring, and I also think that he's better written. Kiana or Otto. As of, I think, chapter 17 is where I'm at in the game. Because with Honkai Impact Third, I'm going through like the Hoyo Stands reading guide. I'm currently at the Durandal visual novel, where currently I prefer Kiana, and she's higher on my actual list, but I do think that Otto is more well written. Psyche, Callista, or Suzune? Psyche for both. And then, Monica, obviously. Favorite subject? Math. I always really enjoyed math, especially number crunching, but then they started putting in algebra and they put letters in my math. Didn't like that as much. But math is still pretty handily. I think the subject that I'm the most comfortable with is the subject that I understand the best, and generally speaking, that. But if we're kind of deviating a little bit from like the core subjects, probably philosophy is what I've dedicated the most time to currently. The best science, in your opinion, like bio or biology, chemistry. Uh, well, it's definitely not chemistry. I understood chemistry, and I mean similar to what I was talking about with math. Like, there's a lot of math in chemistry, but if I had to pick one, probably specifically marine biology. Again, I said this earlier, but I was born and raised in Florida. A lot of marine life around there, so probably that. Could could Mewtwo beat LeBron? No, LeBron would win 100%. Freddy Fazbear, I agree. Great, great. I'm so glad that you could contribute. Top 10 anime manga, including visual novels. Oh boy. I think my order currently is Honkai at 10, Fate at 9, Roshidire at 8, Your Throne at 7, Danganronpa at 6, ReZero at 5, Doki Doki Literature Club at 4, Umineko at 3, Konosuba at 2, and then Classroom of the Elite at 1. I think that's my current order. I'm not 100% sure, that thing changes so much, but it's definitely those 10 series. I just don't know if that order completely represents my current opinion or not. Is Yuki the best representation of heterochromia in fiction? Talking about Yuki Sorimachi from Playing Death Games to Put Food on the Table. Go read it. But no, Isabella Vicker from Torture Princess is better in my opinion. And also, go read Torture Princess. It's great. If you had to replay either Euphoria or Subi, which would it be? Can I pick neither? I think that Euphoria had both lower lows and higher highs, but I also feel like I have a really good comprehensive analysis of Euphoria. I get Euphoria. With Subahibi, it's a lot more nuanced, and because of that, I feel like there's more to gain from a reread. So if I had a gun to my head and I had to reread either of them, I'd probably rather reread Subahibi. Most consistently good eats, comfort food. I mean, like I said, mac and cheese, pizza, they're both great. First 5 anime and mangas. Also, why are you up so late? I am up so late because I work a night shift. It's rough, man, but hey, we gotta make a living somehow, don't we? But yeah, the reason I'm up so late is 100% because of that. And then my first 5 anime and mangas, I'm gonna be completely honest, I do not remember what my first mangas were at all. But my first animes were The Promised Neverland, Erased, No Game No Life, Classroom of the Elite. I don't know what my fifth was. Probably like Mirai Nikki or Assassination Classroom, maybe. I think it was probably one of those. When Red versus Blue, Church Victim. Beatrice, also Church Victim. What is the woman in the picture holding? A beautiful glass of wine that is Penelope Eckhart from Death is the Only Ending for a Villainess. It also goes by Villains Are Destined to Die, but I think that's a much worse title. But yeah, go read it and find out for yourself. It's amazing. Top three best written visual novel characters excluding Fada and Umi. Why do you guys do this? This is the same dude, or not the same dude, but it's the same kind of question of like, oh well, what's your favorite antagonist that doesn't include anything other than anime and manga? Oh boy. Top three best written visual novel characters excluding Fada and Umi. Um, man, I don't know. Monica is probably there. Shiro Emiya is probably there. Oh, and Okabe, Rentaro Okabe from Steins Gate. Those are my three. The top one in that list versus Beatrice, in your opinion? I think if I was ordering Okabe, Monica, and Shiro, I think that would be my exact order. Actually, would be visual novel Okabe, and then Monica, and then visual novel Shiro. In which case, like Okabe is the top, and then Monica, and then Shiro. I think if I did do a Beatrice versus Okabe edit, it's probably like either high diff plus or very high diff minus, something like that. What's your favorite football club? I'm assuming that you're talking about like the football teams, American football teams. In which case, it depends on if you're talking about college or professional. If you're talking professional, I'd go with the Buccaneers. If you're going college, I would go with the Seminoles. Again, from before, I was born and raised in Florida, so accordingly, I like the Florida teams. Favorite movie and movie character? My favorite movie of all time is Mr. Right. My favorite movie character is I don't know. If we're including anime movies, it's probably Shoya from Koei no Katachi. If we're not counting anime movies, maybe the first one to come to mind is Not Sure from Idiocracy. But yeah, you know what? Screw it. I'll go with him. He was the first one to come to mind. I mean, there's other great ones too. I mean, I really like Deadpool. Obviously, Mr. Right from Mr. Right, and who's the other one I was thinking? Desmond Doss from Hacksaw Ridge. Pick any of those, but I'm gonna go with Not Sure because he was the first one to come to mind. Clanad when? Hopefully early next year. I want to hit Higurashi first. But as soon as I'm done with Higurashi, Clanad is next up on my plan. So, again, hopefully it'll be early next year, but I'm not 100% sure. Alpha or Sigma? I mean, Alpha, duh. Kind of a stupid question is that. What is your favorite fiction? My favorite fiction of all time is still Classroom of the Elite. I think that it's very difficult to go 30 books into a series and not have some sort of reverence for it. The people that hate read, this isn't about Classroom of the Elite, but the people that hate read just for the sake of, shitting on it later, I genuinely don't get it. I read Classroom of the Elite because I enjoy reading it, and I've read all of the light novels. I've read all of the mangas, including that Suzune Horikita one, which is bad, but it's funny, so it's okay. The Year 1 manga is also not very good. The Year 2 manga is actually amazing. I love the Year 2 manga. And the anime adaptation is, I mean, it's the anime adaptation, so if you know, you know. Did you, or I'm assuming, did you drop Monogatari? No, I've not dropped Monogatari at all. I've only finished the first, like, batch of seasons, I guess, like the first season, which was Bake Monogatari, Owari Monogatari, Nisei Monogatari, and Neko Monogatari. I have not started second season yet. If you're wondering why, I just haven't gotten around to it yet, I guess. But I do fully intend on continuing the series. I did not drop it at all, no. Is Monica best girl? Yes or yes? What a again, dumb question. Obviously yes. Come on, man. Opinion on gays and lesbian shit. I'm gonna assume that you're talking about like within the context of media, in which case I think it's literally just like anything else. It can be done well, it can be done poorly. One of my favorite ships ever is Media and Psyche from Your Throne. So I think that probably like goes to show my general opinion on it. Like I do think it can be done well. I do think it can be done poorly. And finally, what could possibly be the final question on this question and answer? What amazing philosophical, profound question could I possibly answer at the end? What's one plus one? Oh, I did say that I was good at math. So obviously, just like any other question you could have asked, the answer is just Monica. And there we go. That is all of the questions that you guys asked. I'm gonna be honest, this video went way longer than I thought it would. So I do hope that you guys enjoyed. Like I said before, definitely expect part one for the top 100 characters to hopefully come out sometime next week. That's the plan, at least. And again, just like thank all of you guys for giving me any sort of platform at all. It was great being able to actually, sit here and, get some level of interaction between myself and you guys through a video format. I think that's awesome. And in the future, I'll probably do another Q&A at some point. So, I mean, I guess look forward to that. But that's about all that I had planned for this video. So, as always, take care, y'all.